This might sound a little harsh because I say this to a lot of people and I stand by this. And sometimes people are like, whoa, that's a bit much, Natasha. But it's true. Okay, this is my line. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
If it's a question mark, it's a no.
Welcome to the Love Atlas. I'm your host, Sunana Sharma, and today I'm thrilled to have Natasha Moore with us. Natasha is a founder of, I believe, this vegan makeup brand. I was super fascinated by it. And as a world-class makeup artist, she has harnessed the transformative power of makeup to inspire women all around the world. So join us as we discuss life, relationships, friendships, and explore how to embrace the beauty of everyone around us. Natasha, so tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm really glad to be here. I love talking about my brand and my journey, of course. I hope that it inspires people because I started truly as a makeup artist,
Okay.
and I know that now everyone wants to be a makeup artist. A lot of people, obviously, because of the TikTok trends and Instagram and all of this. But when
Yeah.
I started 10 years ago, it was not something everyone was doing.
Yeah.
Makeup artistry. There was a very few select people around the world that were really focused on the actual artistry. So I started my career as a makeup artist and I was working with brides from all over the world and I was doing all these NRI weddings. I was doing massive weddings in Italy and Turkey and Istanbul in Spain and Hong Kong and Thailand, literally everywhere. And so every week I was basically in a different country
Yeah.
working with brides. And yeah, that's basically that was my journey. That's how I started. And then I launched a brand shortly after that.
That's really, really cool. When it comes to self-esteem and personal empowerment, how would you connect that to makeup? Because I know, makeup in general makes everyone feel, especially women, like we love wearing makeup. We feel so comfortable wearing makeup and it makes us feel confident.
Mhm. So that's a great question because I actually was bullied in high school, like very badly bullied. I was so traumatized by people constantly saying, you're so fat, you're so ugly, like horrible things at the school bus. And every time I would hear that, obviously I wouldn't look in the mirror and give myself any sort of love. And so when I started to do people's makeup, I saw them really gain a lot of confidence in themselves when they would look in the mirror. And
Yeah.
that's what inspired me to not only be a makeup artist and do this for people. I was like, what about people who can't afford it? I want people all around the world to be able to have a product or wear a piece of Natasha Moore Cosmetics. That's how I started the brand, to speak that positivity into existence and make yourself feel really good. So it wasn't necessarily just like on the outside doing your makeup and making yourself feel good. It was also what you were saying to yourself. And
Right.
that's like, I mean, this whole self-esteem story is so important and so pivotal in my life because I started with artistry and then I created the shade names to be powerful affirmations.
Wow.
So all the shades are like game changer, powerful, CEO, money maker, Titan, like all these words to really speak that magic into existence.
Yeah, and then as you were mentioning being bullied and then how makeup was a game changer and all these positive affirmations, I guess a lot of women in the South Asian community, even if they want to express themselves, sometimes they're not allowed to, especially coming from a strict background.
Yeah.
Would you happen to have any advice for women, like younger women who do want to wear makeup, but then sometimes parents are like, no, you cannot wear any makeup? We're all, the focus is so much on natural beauty. So how would you navigate that?
To be honest, that's a really good question. I've done so many interviews. I don't think someone's asked me that yet, but that's a really good question because
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I would always get in trouble for being the girl who wore eyeliner.
Yeah.
Always. I'm like,
Yeah.
being Indian, I grew up with being the girl who loved wearing kajal, and I didn't realize
Yeah.
the reason why I did it was the reason I did it is to feel better about myself. But one thing I also didn't realize is I was using it to mask my original, like myself. So
Hmm.
hiding
Hmm.
behind the makeup. So I think there is a message that needs to be sent to younger people who want to indulge in makeup and make themselves feel better, which is you can do it, you should do it, but don't do it to with the intention of covering up your beauty, you know? You
Right, right.
yourself. Whereas I was like, I was breaking out, I had acne, and I was just pounding on layers of foundation, and it didn't look good, you
Mm,
know? It just
mhm.
it didn't look like me. And I would say, I guess, to the advice I would really give is just play with it, but
Yeah,
don't do that you change yourself into a different person. And
exactly. Enhance yourself basically with
that
it.
enhance
Yeah,
your features. And that's something I would always pride myself on. And that's actually how I became one of the top 5 makeup artists globally
yeah,
in the Indian community, because I would make them feel like themselves. I would do their makeup in a way where they would feel confident and not feel like they have to, didn't want them to be a different person on their wedding day.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And then when it comes to friendships, and being on social media, you have a pretty big following, and then on top of that, you're very successful with your career and you seem like a very all-rounder person. How are you when it comes to choosing friendships?
That's such a You have some great questions.
Thank you.
I'm an energy person. So
Uh,
I like to connect with everybody.
yeah,
Everyone is an acquaintance that can turn into a friend. But
yeah,
when I bring you into my heart and truly like keep you as a friend, you'll know, because I will constantly be connecting you to, well, that's what I like to do. I like to connect people and really bring them in. But I have been burned by so many people in the past. And that's what happens in all friendships, right? It's like, it's normal. I think that's just what happens. But I think for me was when I was very vulnerable and
yeah,
when I was very authentic with who I am, and just letting people know that, hey, this is me. This is what I'm all about. I'm a no BS kind of person. I say it how it is.
yeah.
Um, and you'll get to know that over time. And if I want to help you, I will help you a lot. Otherwise, I'll just be quiet. I'm not going to be fake and waste my time, because I'm super busy also. Like I
Yeah.
don't have
No, that's a great way to put it. And I think you just the way you mentioned it, you're like, yeah, we all get burned, but at the same time, like when you are there for people, you're genuinely there with
yeah.
no BS, just being very straightforward and then not wasting your time. That's exactly how I am. And I think energy is huge. So it's great that you mentioned that. But then when it comes to your busy schedule and you have your close people, how do you spend time with them? Like how do you make time for them?
Again, a great question, because in the last week I've had some people who I realize now, actually, you're asking this question at the most perfect time, because
Okay.
only in the last week have I realized this. You're always going to have people who will complain about you not giving them enough time. And
Yeah.
you'll see the reaction with certain people sometimes, where they're kind of like, oh, you're not making time for me, you must be an awful person, you're a bad friend. And instead it's like, no, no, you should look at what I am doing and realize that I am busy and I do make time for you. But there's a way of communicating that with someone. And with the friendships that I've had, I've realized I just slowly, so it's kind of a flaw of mine, where it's a flaw, but I recognize it also as a power. Because if I don't like someone's energy and I feel like it's bombarding my life too much, I will drop it off. But the difference is now I would just drop it off and I'd be like, I don't want to speak to this person ever again, which is not a good thing, because
I used
you're
to do that all the time. I understand. Yeah.
abandonment issues.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do have to say, when it comes to real people in your life, they will understand and they will be so supportive even when you're busy. You'll just feel that energy. Again, going back to energy, like, okay, you know what? I'm busy. I'm thinking about you. Like I'll message my friends saying, oh my goodness, randomly when I call them, they're like, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. I was thinking about you too. And we catch up. How are you doing? How's life? It's just there's no fakeness to it. There's no sense of like, oh my goodness, do I have to devote more time to this? It's like, no, it just naturally, organically happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. The right friends, you can tell with the way that they react to you, because sometimes if it's too much, maybe it is a sign for you to drop them off. But
Yeah.
the only difference is, before I would just stop talking to them and
Yeah.
never, and I've done that with one or two people, which
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will admit is not my best me. But I think now I will speak it up, and I'll just be like, hey, listen, I don't like that you've done this. I've made time for you. I am busy. And then if they keep pestering you,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do
And
have a lot of friends.
you know what? Talking about dropping people off, it's so interesting because I've been thinking about that a lot as well, where I'm like, okay, when I was younger, I would do that. And now I don't do it as much, but that's also because I am, 34 now. I have a lot of great people around me.
Yeah.
But then there's always one or two questionable friendships that tends to happen, especially with you and your, big following. I'm sure it happens way more to you. But I don't I don't even think that's a wrong thing sometimes. Like sometimes I feel like there's people out there that even communicating is not really going to help. Like even if you try to communicate with them, so it's best to just let go of the friendship at times and just to protect your energy and who you are as a person, right? So I don't think there should be any blame when it comes to that. I think, you got to do what you got to do pretty much.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Daily busy schedule, how do you squeeze in some sort of rituals to help you get through the day? I would say, as you mentioned, positive affirmations, you're big on that. So are there any other things that you add?
Yeah, I sweat every day. I have to sweat. If I don't work out, I know I will be really, and okay, not every single day, but like 5 times. Yeah, 5 out of 7 days sometimes. Sometimes I'll do all 7 days. So I will try my best to get a sweat in, whether it's just a going for a run or
Mhm.
like a quick run even, or like today I was climbing up Culver City stairs, just something to get in.
Yeah.
Otherwise I go crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then going back to makeup a little bit, like when it comes to makeup and self-perception,
Yeah.
what do you what do you think about that? And the reason why asking this question is because I've noticed many times where I remember even when I was younger, like in high school, and I was applying for jobs at the mall. And, sometimes when I walked in without any makeup and just, very normal clothes, I would be turned down down for jobs. Whereas when I showed up, hair done, makeup done, and, heels on, really dressed up, they would offer me jobs like in a heartbeat, like, especially when it comes to that kind of setting at the mall.
Yeah.
So what do you think about all of that?
I actually, it's a great question because I keep saying that, but because you really do have great questions. It's a great question. Uh, but really, I really believe in getting dressed up. You got to play the part that you want to portray. If you
Yeah.
want to look like a boss babe, I would have said another word, but
Yeah.
but if you want to portray the role of a CEO who's
Yeah.
always, like on point, you got to dress the part. My fiance actually just asked me this morning, which is why
Yeah.
I said question. He
Yeah.
asked me, he's like, I've had such a long day, just back-to-back meetings. I'm just gonna ask them if I can, and he always looks good. He's always in a suit, he's always so well dressed. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna ask them if I can just be chill and casual. And I was like, no, I gave him this whole talk. I'm like, you are a CEO, Mr. Morrison. You like, yeah, thank you, babe. I in that suit for 7 hours.
I love that because I think that's so true because sometimes when I'm just feeling down in the morning and then I go out and just dress up for myself, I feel so great. Whereas on days I'm just feeling a little like then I don't feel good, especially because and then I think about it, I'm like, why don't I feel good? Well, it's also because I don't have my hair done, I don't have my makeup on point. Those things really do play a huge role. And for men, if it's not makeup, then obviously, as you mentioned, dressing up, like that's how they dress. That's their way of doing makeup.
Whatever it
Yeah.
is. I was gonna say, like, my whole thing about for my brand is about self-reflection. So you look at, I don't know if you've seen what our products look like,
Yeah.
but they all have a mirror on it so that it reminds you of who you are and your power. And
Yeah.
so basically, my whole line is about doing your makeup on the go and being really easy. So my lipsticks, they come out, it's super easy. But the reason why I'm saying all this is because I wanted there to be a reminder for you to
Yeah.
look at your mirror in the middle of the day and be like, damn, I look good.
I love
Or, you know,
that.
or
Yeah.
apply a lipstick and, oh, I'm wearing ambition.
Yeah.
Whatever it be that you need that little fuel sometimes, that's my purpose with the brand. And taking yourself out on a date
Mm.
is such an important thing. And getting dressed up to look in the mirror, to feel good about yourself, it will change your whole aura. It will change.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess now we can dive a little bit deeper into self-love. As you mentioned, your lipstick with the mirror and just reminding yourself. So how did you get started on this self-love journey of yours? When, what are the things that you've done along the way? And again, we all are insecure to a certain extent. How did
Yeah.
you overcome your insecurities and become this confident woman?
I'm still super insecure. I think the way that really helps me, I mean, I'm not as bad as I used to be, I will be honest, because I have worked on myself, not just on the outside, like with my
Yeah,
hair or whatever I want to do, but on
yeah,
the inside. So I've really started to tell myself and treat myself with a lot of care and a lot of love. I've treated myself as though I would treat my best friend. So
yeah,
the other day, my friend was saying some horrible things about himself, and he's saying it on the phone. He's like, "Oh, I'm just this," and I was like, "Excuse me, please stop talking about my friend like that. How
yeah,
dare you?" And he was just talking about himself, and I was like, and then it made me remind myself of how important it is to speak positively to yourself. That's
yeah,
the way you can truly work on that self-love, because it is a journey,
yeah,
right? It is such a journey, especially with relationship dramas or whatever it may be that make you that affect you, even with friendships. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
last week I had a friend just call me shouting at me and basically telling me I'm an awful friend for the reason that's why I'm saying all your questions are so aligned, because I
yeah,
literally had that happen to me, and I doubted myself. I'm like, am I really a bad friend because I'm busy? I
mhm,
don't think so. I
yeah,
think someone else's projection of them
yeah.
onto me.
And isn't it sad that we have to ask ourselves that question then, like that self-doubt kicks in just because someone else spoke negatively to us, then we start doubting ourselves.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing. I do that to myself all the time too. If someone makes me feel bad, then I start doubting myself. I just had a podcast yesterday with this wonderful South Asian girl, and she was also we were connecting on that. We're like, just being able to it's great to have that awareness to dig deep within yourself, but at the same time, if someone speaks badly to us, then we start thinking, oh, is it me? And
Yeah.
that's where we have to check ourselves. No, like I know myself well enough. I know my values. I know my character and who I am. It's not me. It's the other person, and they're pissed off about something else, and they might be going through something in their life. Already so self-critical when it comes to ourselves. You need positivity. You need other people to tell you good things, and you need to speak because we're already working on ourselves. So it's not an easy journey.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
You said
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And then you mentioned earlier relationships. So a little bit about relationships I wanted to ask you. I know you mentioned you have a fiance now. So how was this journey of finding the right person for you? And do you have any advice for women who are single and looking?
So much. Oh my God. I love this question.
Yay.
Another check. No, because it's so real. I love it. Yeah, I was married actually, Indian girl, married at 25, got divorced at 27. Um,
Oh,
but it was a great thing for me because I realized that I didn't want that. And he's a great person, and we were just not right for each other.
right.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people at the time were like, but why are you getting a divorce? Just because you're not right for each other? Just make it work. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 that's not how it works. I remember my grandma was like, but he's not physically abusing you. And I'm like, that's the line?
The line, wow.
Okay, he has to slap me for me to do this? No, he's a
Yeah.
really lovely guy. We're just different. And I mean, that's what I say to a lot of people now. It's like, you shouldn't have to feel like, oh my gosh, just because you got a divorce, that's it. That's your life is over. No way, man. It's just beginning. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So when I was single, I started dating, and then I was in a relationship for a long time, for like 3 years. And then I became single, and I was single and ready to mingle. And I was having a good time meeting with people. But what I always tell people is that was probably one of the most empowering parts of my life.
Yeah.
And I was 31. I was single again, right? And being Indian, my parents were like, okay, this is the one. She's going to get married. She's going to be happy. He's from a good family, typical Indian stuff.
Check, check, check. Yeah.
And then single again. And I was like, oh my God, it's me. People are going to talk about me. And they did, of course. And people are going to say I'm an awful person. And they're going to, especially with the world that I'm
Yeah,
in. People,
of course. Very judgmental background. And like,
yeah,
people sometimes stay in these horrible marriages and
exactly.
constantly talking negative about their partners, but they're not doing anything about it.
Exactly. And I was like, why say shit about people and just fix your problem, right? Just make it easy
Exactly.
for yourself and everyone else's life. So
Yeah.
anyway, I just said, okay, I'm good with this. I got, and when I was single at that when I hit that 31 years old, right?
Yeah.
It was not very long, to be very honest, because I met my fiance right
It
away.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reason why though is because I think that period of me being single and the age that I was in was so powerful for me because it made me learn to love myself. It made me detach myself from someone else who I was getting all this validation from that I thought I needed, which I
Yeah.
really didn't, And then of course, through that breakup, at first I was like, oh my gosh, it's me. I'm an awful person. I'm ugly. I'm fat. All the things from
Yeah.
my childhood just started to come up again. And I was like, no, no, you can't do this to yourself. So
Yeah.
I gained confidence, honestly, by going and meeting people, going out on dates with people. And it wasn't like, oh, I was just going on dates to have fun. I was going on dates to talk, to meet.
Right.
Some
And
of them,
see what else is out there, and coming across like nice people and people who are just genuine. Like there's a whole world full of amazing, incredible people, and I think we're just, we remember the negatives, we remember the bad people, and that's what we hold on to. And it's great that you did that, because I'm sure that opened your mind and changed your mind, and you also that you developed confidence. Then, oh wow, people like me, people actually get along with me. Why am I saying such negative things about myself?
yeah. And also people like me for me. Because remember, I was living in this bubble. I was
Yeah,
in Hong Kong, and everyone around me knew about what I was doing or who I was. So I
right.
would go to Panama, and there would be people waiting outside my room to meet with me. And it was cool, really amazing.
Yeah,
But imagine I came to LA, no one knew anything. I'm just me, right? And
yeah.
I get to be me, which was so nice because it allowed me to actually be me.
When it comes to divorce and when it comes to the stigma, um, if someone is going through a toxic situation right now, do you have any advice for them, especially if they are in a place where it's hard to fix the situation, like they've been trying for years and years and nothing is being fixed?
Yes. But this might sound a little harsh because I say this to a lot of people and I stand by this. And sometimes people are like, whoa, that's a bit much, Natasha. But it's true. Okay, this is my line. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
If it's a question mark, it's a no. If you're questioning it, whether it's your friend, whether it's your partner, if you're constantly questioning it, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And you've tried your best to make it work, it's a no. It's
Yeah,
as simple as that because why would you question something so much? It's your gut telling you, it's your brain telling you, it's your mind, it's your heart, it's everything that's telling you. Like, no, think about it. Every time you've had a doubt in your mind about someone, they've either turned out to be wrong, right? Or they've proven you right,
yeah.
where like, actually, now of course there are people who are overthinkers sometimes and they're like, is this person right for me? So for those people, I would say take your time with the
Sure.
question mark. But
Yeah.
essentially, if you're questioning it, why question things? Just be happy with it.
Yeah, that is such good advice, because I can think of two friends that I want to get rid of right now.
Well, you just gained a friend. I hope you
I
know.
just gained a friend. Woo! Yeah, no, that's such good advice, because I think, and I love the fact that you also mentioned towards the end, overthinker, because that's me. Sometimes I can overthink certain situations. Obviously, I'm engaged at the moment, and I've been with him for 3 years, but there were moments of being critical a little bit and overthinking it, but mainly because of who I am as a person and also my upbringing. So I think through therapy and just going through layers and layers of that and then understanding that, like, I
Yeah.
think what really matters at the end of the day is, are you happy? Do you have peace within yourself, right? And how is your relationship when it comes to compatibility? And there's so many layers to it, but at the end of the day, like, happiness, that's the number one thing. And as you mentioned, questioning it a lot, that can also be, and you have to figure out exactly why you're questioning it at times too. But if you're constantly doing it throughout your entire relationship, then there's something wrong, something
Why
off.
are you wasting your time, right?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
all it is. At the end of the day, why are you wasting your time? Of course, I'm not saying end every relationship
of
because I don't do
course.
that. But
Yeah,
one thing that's really helped me is one, does this person make you a better person?
yeah,
A great question because when you think about it truly, you're like, actually, when I look back, I'm like, no, I was not the best to me.
yeah,
Now I feel like I'm a great me. But
yeah,
why? Because I've been more open. I've been communicating more. I
Yeah.
speak exactly what I want and I make shit happen, you know?
Exactly. And that doesn't mean that the person that you're currently with is not going to trigger you, right? Because there are
Oh, yeah,
so many
of course.
moments, like obviously arguments and things that will happen where old wounds do come back and you have to work through them, especially in your situation, as you mentioned, like going through something that you went through and then trying to be in a good state of mind and not let your past affect you and also like be in the present moment. That can be one of the toughest things at times, but being
Yeah.
able to really work through it with your partner and as you mentioned, communicating openly, that's so huge. Being able to just express yourself and have a good relationship and when things are not good, how can I communicate with him or her?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have a question for you to pick. I have a deck of cards that's all questions to spark deeper conversations.
Oh, yay, let's do that. How fun.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not the whole deck, but I was just answering a couple of questions yesterday. So
Oh, that's cool.
tell me when to stop.
Stop.
So this card. Ooh, okay. Now I'm interviewing you.
Ah, woohoo!
What do you believe is holding you back from living the life of your dreams?
Fear, 100%. I would say, I mean, it's not completely holding me back at the moment because I decided to pursue this. I was so nervous in the beginning to even start podcasting and, even get into that. And I love social media since I was very young. I would post things on Snapchat, I would post comedy stuff and on TikTok. And then next thing you know, I would just delete it right away. And the reason for that was because I was insecure at that time and I was very scared of people seeing me, my family coming across me, even though I wasn't posting anything that
Yeah.
anyone would question, but it was just my own insecurity and my own fear of being judged, especially coming from the community we come from. But I would say now, fast forward, slowly but surely, I'm getting more comfortable. I started this whole journey. I'm like 34 podcasts and actually 38 or 39 podcasts in now. And I decided, I'm like, I'm just going to post myself. And it's really cool because it's kind of like exposure therapy where you express yourself and you show yourself. And eventually you stop caring about how to be seen as long as you're having good conversations with people
Yeah.
and you're connecting and learning and growing.
I love that. I actually just started a podcast as well, and my co-host is the beauty director for Sephora. And for
Ooh,
us, it is a conversation that we just have all day, every day. It's so much fun, and it's like the best way to get to know people and to even get to chat about good
yeah,
topics.
and it's so fulfilling. It just goes to show how many incredible women are there who you can learn from. And as soon as I'm done with the conversation, my cup is full. I'm emotionally feeling so great and I can have a good night's sleep. So I'm like, you know what? This is my passion and I'm going to continue this along with teaching
It's
and just
good.
go for it. Like fears, unfortunately, we all have fears. No matter how successful you may be, trying something new is challenging.
Yeah. Well, I will have to say you are so good at what you're doing. You're so confident. You speak so well. So keep
Thank
doing
you.
it.
Thank you
Oh,
so much. I really appreciate it. And I love that question. And then what about one more question? I want you to do it one more time, and this time you're going to answer it. I'll tell you when to stop. Such a fun game. Stop.
yeah. Ooh, what is something you and I have in common?
Oh, that's cute.
I would say that we're both go-getters and we do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Even though we have the fear within us, like you just said, we just make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. Very empowering. And I feel I sense you being a very, very strong woman, and I think that's where we connect as well. Last but not the least, what advice do you have for your younger self?
Oh, that was one of my questions from the deck, darling. Um, what do I have? I don't want to answer this the way I've answered every single time because it's the same, but it really is like Natasha, just believe in yourself.
Yeah.
But one constructive piece of advice I would give would be get organized faster. Don't, because I'm not organized and I'm just getting there now. I'm all over the place. I do like that's my biggest flaw. And the minute I start looking at it as something that I should work on and understanding that that's how it should be, that I should try at least get started. Like, at least, when I started my business, I wish I was just like really organized, but I'm getting there
Really
now.
good. That's really, really good advice. That's definitely what I'm working on right now. He's super organized and I'm like ADHD all over the place. So I'm trying to work on it and my place is always clean, but at the same time, just as you mentioned, organized when it comes to like just technology and the things that I'm doing because I'm like saving things here in this file and that file. So just being able to label everything and just get to it. And you know what? For some people, it comes very easily. And for some people, it is really challenging. And we have to give ourselves grace. Hey, you made it this far with your organization skills.
My God, I just got super organized. I'm like, oh my God, where are my logo files? And I know exactly where it is, but then I'm
Yeah.
still looking for it everywhere. Like, it's so silly how
Yeah.
disorganized I am. But you know what? It's part
Yeah.
of us. It's part of
Definitely
part
accepting.
of our
Embrace it. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm going